Bonjour. My name is Jean-Michel Baptiste Artiste, but you may call me Jean. I will be reading from The Littlest Voyageur by Margie Preuss, illustrated by Cheryl Pilgrim. I'm reading with permission from Holiday House Publishing. In this episode, our friend Jean-Pierre Petit-Larouche has arrived at the trading post in Grand Portage with his Voyageur crew. And itching with curiosity, he wonders just why have the Voyageurs traveled so far. 6 days of work. While my crew is portaging, sawing up firewood, hammering nails, and doing whatever the bosses told them to do, I left Jean Gentil hatless and went exploring. First, I visited the camp of the Northmen who came from further inland. When my brigade traveled back to Montreal, the Northmen would paddle the other direction, west and north, on the smaller waterways to ever more remote trading posts. There they would spend the winter. They were hardy fellows and braggarts. For reasons that escaped me, they didn't have to do any work when they got to Grand Portage. They lounged around and made fun of the mangeurs du lard, the pork eaters, which is what they called us, as if we were spoiled schoolboys. I visited the nearby village of the Anishinaabe, too. The smoke from their campfires smelled deliciously of wild rice, smoked fish, and sweet maple. Their smaller canoes lined the beach, light, strong, waterproof, and beautiful. The Anishinaabe were the inventors of the wonderful craft that had carried us so far and our cargo over 1,000 miles. And finally, I snuck into the stockade, hoping to find out what we were going to get for our trade goods. I visited a blacksmith's, a cooper's, and a carpentry shop, and I managed to get inside the mess house where the clerks and partners of the Northwest Company took their meals. These gentlemen in top hats and tailcoats were the bosses who ran the whole operation, and they ate well. Their table groaned with platters of roast pork and smoked fish, kettles of venison stew, and bowls of fresh vegetables. Personally, I think they overreacted. When I only wanted a small taste of a few of these things, I suddenly found myself outside, swept there by a cook with a broom. And I did not discover a single thing about what we would receive in exchange for our trade goods. 6 days of fun. When the work was done, my crew joined in the festivities outside the stockade. All day and all night, the Voyageurs feasted. They danced, they bragged, they fought. Fists flew, scrapes, scratches, black eyes, broken teeth, and noses also broken, sometimes for the 4th or 5th time. Did I mention that these men were not always so smart? Brave? Oh, yes, very brave. Strong? Oh my, yes, very strong. Smart? Sadly not very smart. The only one who didn't have a broken nose was Jean Gentil. That was because he kept his nose in a book, reading by firelight at night and daylight by day. One morning, he was reciting to me from plays by an Englishman named Shakespeare. "To be or not to be," he began. I wondered, what kind of question is that? Either you are or you are not. Is that or is that not so? Also, who wanted to philosophize when we had yet to find out what we'd be getting in exchange for our goods? I was so anxious to find out that I had a hard time staying still. "What is wrong with you, Larouche?" Jean Gentil asked. "What is wrong with me? What is wrong with me is curiosity," I squeaked and chattered. "We have traveled all this way, weeks and weeks we've been paddling. Well, you've been paddling over many grueling portages." I assume they were grueling. "These goods that that you have carried all this long way, I know are meant to be traded, but traded for what? For what? For what?" "Oh," groaned Jean-Paul, who'd been sleeping nearby. "Can you make him stop that noise? My head hurts." Jean-Paul's head hurt from staying up well past his bedtime, not because of my chattering. I wanted to explain that to him, but by now I realized that these men either could not or would not understand me.